This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now Duane and Kay Johnson-Smith talk about some of the issues the animal ag industry is facing.
Duane Toews joining you here on AGam, and a chance while on the road to catch up with Kay Johnson-Smith with the Animal Ag Alliance. And Kay is certainly a CEO of an organization and a group that has agriculture's best interest at heart. And unfortunately, there are more and more people that make that job difficult.
There are. Our organization is actually entering our 30th year, which is kind of hard to believe. We are a national nonprofit organization, and our mission is to bridge the communication gap between farm and fork and to help the consumers really better understand the importance of animal agriculture. And unfortunately, there are hundreds of groups in the United States that work specifically to eliminate animal agriculture. Their goal is to find ways to either make it too expensive for people to afford protein, too expensive for farmers to stay in business, or just ultimately to try to drive them to a vegan diet.
We think about some of those particular issues, in particular one that they'll regulate us out of business. And unfortunately, given some of the actions of the current administration's cabinets, that's kind of felt all too true as of late.
It's true. There are so many regulations and legislation, and the activist groups are lobbying very actively every year to push for more and more bans on different housing systems, different production practices. Again, kind of in an effort to either make it too hard for farmers to stay in business or to make it too expensive for people to afford protein that comes from animals. So they have used the legislative process. They've used ballot initiatives. We saw 2 this year, actually. And unfortunately, both of those fell the way that the activists supported. And it's hard to get across our message to the consumer through ballot initiative campaigns because they're very well funded. The wording of those ballot initiatives is always so misleading that it really doesn't end up meaning what they say. And unfortunately, the consequences aren't felt for a few years, and so it's really hard for people to connect the dots.
Okay, when we think about the opportunities for agriculture to unite, unfortunately, we haven't always been the best at that, but putting our best foot forward together on a united front will take all of agriculture down the road to more prosperity.
That's true. Our organization really is all about that. We're called the Animal Agriculture Alliance. I think that really says what we do. And we have poultry farmers and livestock and sheep and lamb and beef all working together to try to provide a common voice, a unified voice on behalf of animal agriculture to counter some of the misinformation by these activist groups. We welcome more to join our efforts. The more that are part of our organization, the stronger agriculture's voice is.
I heard someone say yesterday that they wished more people would just use common sense. Does this make sense when approached with some information about agriculture? That would go a long way to alleviating some of these issues.
It would. Unfortunately, those organizations are very well funded because they raise money on cats and dogs. We all love our animals, and in particular, most consumers really only have interaction with cats and dogs. So they raise money on cats and dogs, but most of their campaigns are targeting animal agriculture or farmers and ranchers. And it is hard for the consumer who's now 4 and 5 generations removed from the farm to really understand agriculture and its importance. They go to the grocery store. They don't really connect the dots, again, between the farm and the grocery store. So they end up voting for issues they think sound good on paper, but they don't really understand the unintended consequences.
Our thanks to Kay Johnson-Smith, Animal Ag Alliance, joining us on AGam in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Come back after the break for the story of one rancher's jump start that began his operation.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan from Doc Talk. Have you asked yourself, how can I help provide relief to wildfire victims? Well, you can go to the Ashland Community Foundation, or you can go to the Kansas Livestock Association Foundation and make monetary gifts. Another way, you can buy this beautiful print that was painted by Dr. Eva Gardner of the Gardner Angus Ranch of Ashland and Clark County area before the fire. This painting will be sold through the Kansas Livestock Association Foundation, and all proceeds will be provided to victims of the wildfire.